Hello and welcome to the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars in Washington, D.C. I'm John Molesky, executive producer and host of Dialogue, and we're on the set of Dialogue, where I just concluded a discussion with Dan Pink. Dan is the author of this book, Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us, the latest in Dan's line of bestsellers. Dan, congratulations on another successful book. Motivation is what you're writing about and what we're talking about. Motivation 1.0 was survival, and you say this is an operating system. Explain that.
Sure. I mean, you know, an operating system in a computer is just a set of instructions that run beneath everything, all the other programs that allow it all to function. And, you know, societies have operating systems too, a set of assumptions about who we are and how we behave. And, you know, the first...
They run in the background, but they dictate how we behave.
Yeah, we don't think about them.
Yeah.
So, you know, when we were evolving, it was Motivation 1.0. It was about survival. Now, eventually we upgraded because basing our whole operating system on biology isn't that effective when you have to trade with other people. So we had a system built on rewards and punishments. Worked like a dream for several hundred years. I mean, it's a great human achievement. The problem is that today, that kind of carrot and stick, reward and punishment, if-then system doesn't work very well for what people are doing today at work. And it doesn't explain it. It doesn't explain things like open source, people working for free and giving away their product. There's a body of evidence that shows that for creative conceptual work, these kind of motivators can backfire. And so I think what's going on now, and I think people sort of feel it as we dig out of the rubble of this economy, is that we need to kind of rethink how we motivate people at work and probably at school as well.
How far along are we in that regard? When you look at the problems, the school achievements or the economy in a downturn?
We're not far along at all. We're at the very early days. What's interesting is that there's a lot of evidence on kind of the periphery of companies and other organizations taking very new approaches to things, essentially taking different approaches to motivation, not relying entirely on this very mechanistic carrot and stick approach. And I think what happens a lot of times with any kind of change, you see with technology, is that we overestimate what's going to happen in, say, 2 years and underestimate what's going to happen in 10 years. So I think that, you know, 2 years from now, I don't think there'll be that big of a change. 10 years from now, we actually might be some significant change.
Are you? You've been on the road talking to people about the book. What kind of reception you're getting? Because so much of what you report and what you've studied is counterintuitive. It goes against the entire way we've been raised and trained as students, as workers.
Well, we've sort of adopted. I mean, it's counterintuitive, but it's also intuitive, in that it's counterintuitive in the sense that we've sort of been conditioned into believing that this is how here's how you get people to do good work. You reward what you want and punish what you don't. And that's actually true in a lot of circumstances. It's just not true in every circumstance. I think deep down, though, people, whatever the opposite of counterintuitive, I guess intuitive would be the counter. Yeah. I think deep down people realize that they're not, you know, we don't think of ourselves as, you know, robots, that we do things we do things for reasons that seem to be inscrutable. We do things because we like them. We do things because they're interesting. We do things because they're meaningful, because they're the right thing to do, because they contribute to the world. And all of us have that part of our behavior too. And yet the systems we use, especially inside of companies, barely account for that. Even though it's a big part of what it is to be human, it's also, as more of us do more creative, higher level conceptual work, that's how people really perform well on that kind of work. They're self-motivated, they do things for the inherent joy of the task itself.
Thanks, Dan. And if you'd like to hear more from Dan Pink and his theories on motivation, visit us on the web at www.wilsoncenter.org. Look on the right-hand top of the screen. See the word dialogue. Click on that, and you'll find many ways to see an entire 30-minute interview with Dan. Thanks.